All right, we're live, Ryan. Say what's up.
What's up? What's going on? Closing Club.
What's up, buddy?
What's up? Thanks for coming to New York every time you do this.
This is my fifth time to New York for the show. First time was you, Dottie Herman, Shahab Karmali, Amir Karanji.
Got it.
Again.
Nice.
So here we
Awesome.
are. Round two, man.
In and out. You go right back after this, right?
I'm going straight to the airport. I'm hoping to be on an 11:30 flight.
Good.
So I got in last night like at 8.
We need to move real fast.
No. We'll be
what
good.
airport?
TSA, LaGuardia, man.
LaGuardia. Have you been to LaGuardia?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes. Fly right in.
Dude, LaGuardia is completely under construction. You basically have to get off on the highway, hitchhike to get up there. It's a disaster. I will not fly to LaGuardia.
So where should I go next time? JFK?
The only airport that I use is Newark. If we're flying, commercial. So go to Newark. It's in and out. It's great. And you do the reverse, like kind of going out to Jersey right now. You're completely by yourself. Like no one, you're gonna have no traffic. You'll be there from Soho in 20-25 minutes.
No shit. Well,
and it's not under construction.
Well, the GPS told me 27 minutes from here to LaGuardia. We'll see.
GPS lies and is being controlled by Big Brother. But anyway,
there you go. Well, here we are. So I'm looking at the sign again that says "Ready, Set, Go." You joined us about a year ago.
Was it a year?
October last year, man.
Life is so different.
It is. Yeah.
Life is so different.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Now, in that episode, we covered your backstory. We covered getting in the right mindset, your breakthrough moment, the one person who made the biggest impact on your career, which was your dad. I remember that. Building a powerful brand, real estate team, and we did a lightning round. Today, we're going to talk sales techniques, your course, and beating tech, which is what a lot of the realtors are worried about right now.
Beating tech, great topic.
Now, before we get started, you were at Florida Realtors the other day, and you spoke about the first time you ever sold, which was at 10 years old, selling wood.
Oh,
you could summarize that story to our audience. It's a really cool story.
Yeah, yes, and you can see it in the vlog tomorrow night as well. My first real sales job, my first job was doing like manual labor, for like people that we live next to, so just yard work, like weed whacking, cutting wood, and all that. But then my parents, when I was 10 years old, moved to a town called Topsfield, Massachusetts, right? And they bought this like huge farm outside Boston, which is random, that had been an estate sale forever, and so they were just trees and all those weird places. So anyway, they were like creating, gardens and taking trees down, and so there's all this wood. And then I'd see that my parents would also, because we had a lot of fireplaces, they go and they buy cords of wood, right? They buy wood for the fireplaces, and I was always trying to think about ways to like make money so I wouldn't have to wait on anything. Because especially when you're in 4th and 5th grade, like if you want anything, you have to ask your parents. But if I had my own money, my parents would always allow me to do whatever I wanted, which was awesome. And so I saw all these trees that they were cutting down and chopping up, and then they were basically just giving away. And so then I asked my dad, it's like, what if we took some of the chopped wood and what if we sold it? He's like, well, how would you sell it? Like, well, we have a business. It's like, well, what's your business? Jack Ryan Wood. Because my little brother's name is Jack.
I love this story.
My little brother's name is Jack, and he's 7, so he's 3 years younger than me. So my little brother's name is Jack. My little brother's name is Jack. My name is Ryan, so we could Jack Ryan Wood, and that was our business. We had a little bit of money from like allowances, and so we put an ad in like the local Topsfield newspaper for firewood, and we made it super cheap. I totally undercut the market, right? Because I had no expenses. Literally, there was like the wood cutting machine was already there, and then so we got a guy who made an order for a ton of wood, and it wasn't that far from our house, but we're gonna have to drive it there. So we chopped all the wood. We had guys help us. Then I had to figure out how to get it there. So there's like a delivery problem that we had to come up with, because it's like my dad wouldn't let us use his car or my mom's car. So there's this other guy who had a big red pickup truck, and I'll never forget it. Crazy guy, and he let us use his truck, and he would help us deliver all the wood. And in our first sale ever, we got all the wood, we drove it there. The guy that we sold the wood to had this really, really long driveway, which we didn't know. So when we got there, he had to come up at the end. He's like, okay, if you could just bring the wood down to the end of the driveway and just stack it up nicely for me, that would be nice. And we're like, okay, we'll do that. My driver for my red pickup truck, not into it. He's like, what
was his name?
Biff, I think?
Biff.
Yeah. And Biff in his red fucking pickup truck. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't drive down to the end. He's like, no, I don't do that. And he's like, I don't do that for you people. Like, it was just this crazy moment of like, this is my first business. We're selling firewood, and I've got delivery issues already. And I'm standing here with my little 7-year-old brother. And so he wouldn't drive it to the end. The guy was like, well, that's what I paid for. That's what I need. So he goes back to his house. And Biff in his red pickup truck are sitting there with all the wood. He's like, I'm not doing it. Gets really pissed off, dumps all the wood there on the side of the road, and drives off. So me, 10, Jack, 7, standing on the side of the road outside Boston with all this cut firewood. There's no cell phones. Like, what do we do? It's 1994. Like, what do we do? So I put my little brother behind the wood so that he could hide because, like, God forbid if someone came and, like, kidnapped him. Oh, my God. And I hiked home. And I went home, found my parents, told them what happened. They were pretty disappointed. Way more disappointed that I left my little brother on the side of the road. Had my dad come back, and I'll never forget it. My dad didn't help us in any way. He came back to get my little brother, and he said, you started a business, you sold a product, take a wheelbarrow, and you're going to take the wood, and you're going to stack it for him, and that's your job. If you commit to something, that's what you're going to do. So that's what we did. And it took like 5 or 6 hours into the night. The next day, we folded. We folded the business, and that was my first sales job, and it was terrible. But I learned a lot. Like, those 48 hours of having that business and dealing with people taught me a lot.
Yeah. So talk to me about dealing with people. One of the things I think that separates a lot of realtors too is about follow-up.
Yeah.
You also shared at Florida Realtors a success story of following up for 10 years.
Yeah.
So the couple from China, I don't know if you remember that story or not.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God, I have so many stories about follow-up. Like, that was a couple that I followed up with forever and ever and ever, and then they came and bought something. We're actually doing we're doing a deal right now in the Hamptons for $15 million. It's oceanfront. It's a great deal. And this woman I've been following up with, I've never sold her anything. I've been following up with her since like 2010. Right? Met her initially in 2010 and have been following up with her ever since. She's in my database. She gets my newsletters. I follow her on social. I follow her kids on social, right? Touching base all the time. I know when her birthday is. I'm always saying happy birthday. That way, eventually, she's going to buy something, and I want it to be through me. I thought it was going to be in Manhattan, and it never was. But turns out now she owns a house in the Hamptons, and she reached out to me. Like, she didn't have to, right? 9 fucking years later. But email's free, follow-up is free. It's just a matter of doing the work and then not forgetting and making sure people are part of your follow-up system so that she comes back to me. Sure. And I meet a lot of sellers all the time and buyers who are who work with me. Like, you know what? There's a broker I worked with a couple years ago to help me when I was looking, and I can't remember his name. I never heard from him ever again. But you seem great. Like, that will never happen to me ever. Like, I will stay on top of you through your great grandchildren. I will figure out a way to hologram myself and follow up with you for the rest of life.
Well, you know what I love about that is, and actually that's a great segue into talking about beating tech. A lot of people think that technology. A lot of people think that technology is out to put us out of business, right? As realtors, and they're probably not too far off in that they're trying. But I think as realtors, there's 3 ways that we could really beat tech. So I want to go over those 3 things with you.
Sure.
So one of them, I think, is spending as much time as possible face-to-face, belly-to-belly, palm-to-palm with our clients and those in our sphere of influence.
Yep.
So what systems do you have in place to ensure that you're spending as much of your time in front of your clients?
Listen, one, I'm in front of my clients right now. Right, so technology has provided me the ability that I can be in front of my clients, client-facing, with personal moments like Instagram, TV, like Facebook Live, like the vlog, like the television show, everything as much as possible without actually having to be there. Right, it's kind of the way that I replicate myself, and that's the reason I do all this stuff. But until a house figures out how to sell itself to another house, there will always need to be a service provider in between, and you see that, like. Sure. A lot of people came to my office last week from a company called Purple Bricks. Yep. Right? Purple Bricks came over here from London.
Are they out of business already in the country? In the US?
They went bankrupt in the United States. They blew through $70 million in 2 years. They tried to bring their model of doing discount brokerage to the United States, and they completely folded and fell apart. Right? It just doesn't work in the United States, where people have to be incentivized. Like, they would charge $3,600 per listing, which is not a great business, okay? But where they would really make their money, and where they wouldn't tell anybody, and all the other websites and tech companies do the same exact thing, is they'll then make the money on the buy side. So then it becomes a dual agency conversation of where, okay, Purple Bricks and all these companies are going to come into your neighborhood. You don't have to pay us 3% to list. Pay us $3,600. And people are like, okay. But they're going to then really, really try to get their own agents to represent the buyers to then take that 3%, which means they're double-ending you, and they have no incentive to get you what you want on the sell side because you're not really paying for it. so then it just creates this dual agency shit show, and then they fold, right? And it's happening to all. If you look at all the stock prices from all the other companies, are having a really, really, really hard time because no 9-to-5 employee and no tech is going to organically, naturally, authentically, and in a friendly way follow up with a woman for 9 years for her to do a deal and to talk to her about the ups and the downs and the processes and that whole thing. So I don't know.
Now, in your business, you're not dealing with contracts and all that stuff. What you're dealing with is you're primary. You're dealing with the client, right? So you have the systems on the back end to deal with all the minutia of running the business.
Yep, and lawyers in New York City. Yeah. So it's a lot of lawyers. But I mean, listen, I don't know. Like, I haven't talked about it yet, but there's a lot of weird stuff that's happened with a little company called WeWork in the last couple of weeks that everyone's reading a lot about. And I think there's some hesitation you're going to start to see from some of these companies that might have a lot of venture funding behind them, where like I don't know. And see, clearly things don't work out well if you don't make money. Like, every business has to make money. You can't just say you're a software company or a tech company and be fueled by everlasting growth, but then not have a way to show profit ever. Eventually someone's going to want their money back, or you're going to get fired. And if it happened to WeWork, it'll happen
anywhere else.
Anywhere.
And we're live. There's no going back now. So
it's true, though.
No, I hear you. Listen, I think that what I love most about our business is I really do firmly believe that if you can be face-to-face, belly-to-belly, palm-to-palm with your clients, I don't care how good the tech is, the tech cannot replace that relationship. And
you have to use the tech. That's what we do. Like,
you got to use it. Like, we're using it in the video. So let me skip. So number 3, and I'll go back to number 2, is using the power of video to get in front of the masses to create likability and trust.
Yes.
So how has social media and your vlog contributed to your business?
It is super honest, right? Like, I know a lot of people do like fake shit on social, but for me it's an immediate way with no producing, no scripting, anything, that is a very real way to connect with people. Like, what I put out there is just me and Puma or Adrian, and we're making it together, and whether through social or through Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube, and it's a very authentic kind of in-your-face way to get in front of as many people as possible. And I think people believe it a lot more than they believe other media, right? There's a great book that I read before I got into real estate that really shaped how I built this business, called The Fall of Advertising and the Rise of PR. And really what I do, and look it up if you're watching this, really what I do since then is I follow a strict PR model. Like, we don't really spend that much money on advertising, like, ever. But everything I do is either for editorial for PR, or it's PR through television, PR through YouTube, PR through social media, PR through the email blast that we put out. Success begets success, and people believe that versus any other type of advertising.
There you go.
And that's client facing.
And let's talk about number 2, unparalleled market knowledge. So what are ways that you use to educate yourself about and it was interesting because when I was in the lobby waiting for you, you were talking to one of your agents, you were talking about, no, but the square footage is this, isn't that what's reported, da-da-da. What are the ways that you use to educate yourself about what's happening in the market at all times?
We read as much as possible, right? We read what your clients are reading. So you read The Real Deal, but you also want to stay on top of the news, right? Between all the different news networks, so that you have somewhat of an unbiased opinion of what's happening. Read the Wall Street Journal. Can I go through the New York Times? Is terrible, but Wall Street Journal. Read the New York Post, right? And also talk to as many agents as possible. And there's no data, right? It's just about knowing data. How many units are in buildings, who owns in those buildings, when those buildings sold, when they closed out, what people paid. Like, the more you know, the more confident you'll be when you talk to clients, and confidence is what sells, right? Sure. And then you'll be enthusiastic about that information because you'll be excited that you know it.
That's right.
And then that enthusiasm is what closes deals. Yeah.
So now you're in front of the client. Let's talk about your course. So let's talk about sellers in your course. As the saying goes, listing agents are lasting agents.
Yes.
So what are some of the techniques you teach in your course about how to secure listings on your terms? Because I know you're not taking listings to take listings. So.
Correct. Yeah, we do. Listen, you can go to ryanserhant.com/course.
Please promote.
Yeah, greatest sales course in the history of the world. And a lot of it is talking about how to drive leads and how to get listings, also on my terms, which I kind of call like the Serhant sales system. I mean, a lot of it is kind of commonplace, and I don't want to give too much away because I put it all in there. But it's as simple as asking as many questions as you possibly can, so that you get to know the person that you're about to deal with. Because it's not so much about the house as it is the seller that I'm working with. Am I going to be able to get the seller to be realistic? Is the seller going to be able to actually negotiate with me? Are they going to be difficult? Are they going to be easy? easy, and then figuring out like what kind of time bucket that seller and listing is going to go in, so I don't waste time. You have a lot of agents who are just listing agents, and then they get every listing, but then most of it isn't going to sell, and then they end up wasting all this time, and then it upsets their team because they're showing stuff that's not going to sell, and it becomes this like kind of like hamster wheel, which I never ever want to do. But I also lay out expectations, and a lot of what we do in this market too is say no to sellers, right? Which then brings a lot of sellers back, because if I'm the one who's sitting there and I'm saying, listen, I think I can sell it for this number max, okay, but we should probably list it here, and they say to me, oh, well, this other agent came in and they're $2 million higher than you. I say, then that agent has magical sauce of some kind, and you should list with them. And if they get that price, that is amazing. And if that's what you need, if you need a bigger list price than what I'm telling you, and I'm pretty sure I know everything that's on the market and I know the market better than anybody, then you should do that. I'd say 9 times out of 10, those sellers come back to me, and they come back to me with their tails between their legs, and they're actually ready to sell.
I like the way you summarize that. It's not about the house, it's about the seller.
Always.
I love that.
Always.
Let's talk about buyers. There's a saying for them too, buyers are liars. I know you also cover working with buyers in the course. Yeah. What are some of your best techniques in earning a buyer's loyalty?
Telling a buyer to not do something. It's the number one thing you have to do, right? As a buyer's agent, is you have to be able to look a buyer in the eye and tell them, I really like this house, I can see you like it too, but you're not buying this house, right? And these are the reasons why. Because every person who's working with a buyer's agent, in the back of their mind, is kind of concerned that you're just a salesperson by definition, and that you're in it for the commissions. But I make sure, and honestly, it's always true. Like, I make sure that every time we go and see properties, there's at least a handful of properties that suck, that aren't good for them, that they just shouldn't buy. And then one that they probably really love, they probably shouldn't buy that one too. But this one over here, I think, is a great investment, and they'll actually learn to love it for this reason, this reason, this reason. And if they don't want to buy, they don't have to. Like, then that person is going to be indebted to you, because they're going to say, wow, you're really honest with me, and it's genuine and authentic, and you actually care about me, and it's not just about the commission, and you're willing to spend time with me and talk to me. Okay, I think I will make an offer on that one. And that's how you do it.
And you earn their trust. I love it. Again, it's amazing how the common denominator is building that trust and that likability and being straight up and honest with people. Now, if you've been in the business how long now? It's about
11 years.
11 years. If you got your license today, somebody walks in the door right now, new licensee starts working with you, what are the first things you'd be doing to get started?
I got to build my sphere of influence right away. I got to go through and write down either into a CRM or into Excel or to Gmail or Outlook, or anywhere that's going to work for me, the first name, last name, email address, social handle, actual address, phone number for every single person I've ever met. Yeah. That's the most important thing that's all you're worth. Like, if I were to retire today and I wanted to sell my business, like, the only thing I have really is my contact list, my database, and that could be worth something to somebody, because they could then turn that into future leads down the line. And so that sphere of influence, your first day, is all you have to work on and all you have to build. And then you're figuring out how to use it to the best of your ability. So it's either monthly newsletters or getting people to connect with you on social, and email marketing and social marketing are all you have to do these days. I guess that, and then having personal contact with everybody, like, that's it, right? Pura Vida, these bracelets right here, are a couple guys in San Diego, young, super awesome. They sell bracelets, okay, that they found in Costa Rica. Pretty simple, colorful bracelets. And email marketing, social media marketing. They were Vera Bradley's first purchase ever the other month for $130 million.
Wow.
Right? Email marketing and social media marketing. And that's how we sell real estate now. We sell properties through YouTube. We sell properties through Instagram. That's why you look, like, my personal Instagram is personal, right? But then Serhant team Instagram, which I think is what, 200,000? What is it now, Puma?
Serhant's
team Instagram is how many?
200.
Yeah, it's 200,000. Like, massive ad spend and time and resources and people working on that profile go behind it, because that profile brings in all the business.
Got it.
The business that comes through me are people that, like, want me to sell their place in Panama and, like, want to hang out, right? The stuff that comes through the business profile are really important. Same thing with YouTube. Like, every property kind of tour that we put out on YouTube drives a significant amount of new sellers and new buyers to us. So all of those ways to be passively in front of as many people as possible are what new agents need to work on, because it is 2020.
You know what? You taught me something, because we have this thing called our No Excuses coaching program. And the first thing we do in the first class is get an Excel spreadsheet, get your database together. You need first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, birthday, email address, phone number, whatever you don't have, we'll work on getting. I'm going to add the social handle of that. I haven't done that one.
It's important. You got to follow. Yeah, you got to follow them. Like, people are like, "Wow, you follow a lot of people on social." I'm like, "Yeah, because I follow every single one of my clients and all of their kids." Like, I don't get it. That's the job. And so that way I can stay in touch with them. It's more personal. I know when all their birthdays are, anniversaries, school graduations, they got a new puppy. And it's like quick little touch base. Like, oh my God, your puppy looks great. Even if they don't respond, in a year from now, they will respond when they're thinking real estate.
Yeah. Now, you already addressed the book recommendation earlier without even knowing that question was coming up.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up and tell us about your course.
The course is, it's hosted on a website called Thinkific. It's the #1 selling course on Thinkific in a long, long time. I put my whole life into it, right? So it's 11 years of everything that I've ever known about how to sell, how to kind of get into real estate, everything you do at the beginning, but everything that I also do as a quote unquote veteran in the business, for how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how to structure your day, like all the minutia that no books talk about. Not even my book. I mean, it does a lot, but, and I put that out there to everybody at ryanserhant.com/course. There's over 2,000 people enrolled now, which blows my mind in the first 45 days. Our Facebook group is almost 10,000 members or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost 10,000 members. And I just want to build a community of really well-trained and educated, honest and ethical and good real estate agents around the world. And a lot of people who take the course aren't even based in the United States. So if you're based in the United States, I'd love you to take it too.
I mean, we need more of that in the United States.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're a great dude, man.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm going to go around, turn off the camera. Any parting words for the audience before we leave?
Thank you so much for watching. You're the best. Alex is even better. ryanserhant.com/course. Book. Make sure you watch the vlog tomorrow night. Make sure you watch $1 Million Listing this Thursday, 9 p.m. I love you so much.
There you go.